Rawteur, if you believe Republicans watch Fox and Democrats watch CNN, then you probably also believe news isn't the fourth estate anymore. It's the government's propaganda arm. And before you start typing in the comments, this isn't about left or right, good or bad. This is about how, somewhere along the way, news outlets stopped being watchdogs and started picking teams, to the point where you can't trust any broadcast news source to just tell you the truth, because they'll spin to protect their side and then spin again to tear down the other. Truth is, being called a journalist doesn't make you one. There's no license, no bar exam, no governing body saying, "Congratulations, you're certified now." Journalism is about the work, investigating, verifying, holding power accountable. Walter Cronkite, journalist. Bob Woodward, journalist. But today, a lot of those people behind those desks aren't journalists anymore. They're entertainers. Some of them started as journalists, sure, but the second you start injecting your opinion into the story, you stepped out of journalism. At that point, you're a commentator, a performer, and that's fine, just don't pretend it's the news. I mean, just look at some of the people we've watched over the years. Take Lou Dobbs. For years on CNN, he carried himself like a straight down the middle newsman. Then he jumps over to Fox Business and suddenly he's delivering the exact opposite takes. Loud, partisan, and unapologetic. Did his principles really change overnight? Or did the playbook change because the network did? Or Megyn Kelly. She built her reputation as a hard-hitting anchor at Fox News, then crossed over to NBC and tried to reinvent herself as something completely different. Then when that didn't fit, she left. These aren't isolated cases. They're proof that a lot of these anchors aren't serving truth. They're serving the platform that signs their checks. But do you actually know who controls the news in this country? I mean, most people picture hundreds of independent voices competing to inform us. The reality, it's a handful of corporations. Comcast, Disney, Paramount Global, Warner Brothers Discovery, and News Corp. Those 5 companies alone dominate national television news and much of what gets reprinted or cited everywhere else. And it doesn't stop there. Companies like Sinclair Broadcast Group and Nexstar Media Group own or operate hundreds of local TV stations, many of which are required to run segments or scripts handed down from the top. That's how you can watch the 6 p.m. news in 2 different cities and hear the exact same story, word for word. Now, when you zoom out, as I always suggest that you do, and you think about all of the big mergers and buyouts over the last few years, the picture gets even clearer. It's been these same corporations gobbling up outlet after outlet. Look at Disney acquiring major Fox assets. Look at Warner and Discovery merging. Look at Paramount Global now tying things up with Skydance. Every deal shrinks the number of independent voices and puts more control into the same few boardrooms. And here's the part people don't always think about. These companies know a growing part of the public doesn't trust them through their news divisions anymore. So what do? They start reaching us through our entertainment. When the news isn't enough to sway you, they weave messaging into the shows you watch, the movies you stream, even the late night jokes you hear before bed, or the talk shows you listen to on your way to or before work. It's in the way certain storylines are framed, which characters get elevated, and which narratives quietly disappear. They're not just shaping the news cycle, they're shaping culture itself. Instead of earning trust back through honest reporting, they lean into influence. If they can't get you through the newscast, maybe they get you through the series trending on their platform. Maybe it's that feel-good special or that independent documentary quietly funded by the same parent company behind the news network that you've already stopped watching. It's all the same playbook. Different divisions, same agenda. And the more these companies merge and consolidate, the harder it becomes for truly independent voices to break through. That's how you end up with a handful of corporations not only controlling the headlines, but also shaping the culture around them, whether you realize it or not. And to me, it's like, don't sit there pretending that you care about me or the people that I love when the words on your teleprompter are written by the side of the political aisle that you serve. Brought to us by Big Pharma sponsor that's poisoning us and selling us the cure at the same time. I mean, we've seen this before. In the lead up to the Iraq War, major networks repeated government talking points about weapons of mass destruction that turned out to be false. In 2008, when the economy crashed, networks softened their coverage because their advertisers were the very banks and corporations being exposed. And that viral montage of Sinclair-owned stations, you remember that? Dozens of local anchors reading the exact same script, warning about fake news. Independent, not even close. You know, I was talking to my mom the other day. You know, she watches the news every morning religiously. And I recalled an article pointing out how premillennial generations, even today, still believe almost everything they see and hear on the news. That blind trust is one of the biggest complaints younger generations have about the ones prior. And I get why my mom and previous generations trusted. I mean, once upon a time, you really could. But those days, they're gone. Meanwhile, Gen Z and millennials, we flat out don't trust broadcasters anymore. And we're not crazy for it. We've seen too much. We've watched scandals get buried because they hurt advertisers. We've watched headlines morph depending on which network you watch. We've watched so-called journalists become performers, reading scripts designed to rile up a base, not inform the public. And we're tired of being lied to with a smile and a logo in the corner of the screen. And now, governments like the one in the UK are pushing bills that would force platforms like YouTube to prioritize the same broadcasters we've been trying to get away from. Imagine opening your feed and seeing your recommendations flooded with the exact same voices you've already learned not to trust. They want to drag us back to a system we already know is broken. My generation and younger, we see through the veil. We don't trust you. Not anymore. Not when every story feels like a commercial for someone's agenda. And look, I know some people roll their eyes at how my generation gets its news. Oh, you're just on Reddit. You're just scrolling Twitter. You're watching TikToks. You're on YouTube. But I honestly believe it's more reliable. It's crowdsourced. It's messy, but it's a kind of proof of work. Information challenged, fact-checked, and argued over in real time. However, the catch, it only works if you bring critical thinking to the table. You can't get swept up in the emotions or the nonsense that comes with gathering information online. You've got to sift, question, double check. And yeah, that takes effort, but that effort pays off. Because at the end of the day, that process, flawed as it is, feels a whole lot closer to the fourth estate than the propaganda estate we see playing out on TV every night. So yeah, the fourth estate, it's still alive, but it doesn't live behind the typical shiny desk in a studio anymore. It lives in independent reporting, in forums, in creators willing to dig for the truth. And as long as we keep thinking critically, keep questioning, keep demanding better, maybe we can bring a little of that trust back. But until then, don't expect us to sit quietly while the same people who sold us the last lie try to do it all over again. Who do you trust more? The anchors reading what they're handed, or independent creators who answer only to their audience? Let me know in the comments, and for more of my Saturday opinions, check out this one right here, and for more reports, check out this video right here.